The stars above the colony world of Virex 7 were calm, peaceful, and full of light. The people on the planet were simple farmers, traders, and scientists. They had no army, no weapons, and no reason to fear. For years, Virex 7 had been a peaceful colony on the edge of the galaxy. It did not belong to any empire. It was neutral, quiet, and far from trouble. But now that peace was about to end. The Galactic Empire had arrived. Massive warships filled the sky above Virex 7. Their hulls were black and gold, shining with the Empire's colors. Fighter craft flew in tight groups like angry bees circling the skies. The people below looked up with fear. They had never seen such ships before. The children cried. The adults tried to stay calm. But they all knew. This was not a friendly visit. The leader of the colony, Governor Leon, sent a message to the Empire's fleet. She begged for peace. This colony is neutral. We have no weapons. We are not a threat, she said. The Empire did not reply. Instead, they sent their own message not just to Virex 7 but to the entire galaxy. A massive screen lit up across all galactic networks. A tall Imperial officer stood in front of it, smiling. His uniform was sharp, his face cruel. "Why is Earth so quiet?" he said with a smirk. "Do the Terrans hide behind silence? Do they fear us? We take this colony now. If Earth does not stop us, then Earth agrees with us." The galaxy watched in shock. Earth had always been strange. For many years, humans had not joined any alliance, had not spoken much in the Galactic Council. They had ships, yes. They had tech. But they stayed quiet, observing, listening, waiting. And now, when the Empire took a colony near Earth's space, the humans said, nothing. Some species believed Earth was peaceful. Others thought humans were cowards. The Empire believed Earth was weak. That belief would be their first mistake. On Virex 7, Governor Leon tried again. "We are under Earth's protection," she cried. "You cannot take us." But the Empire only laughed. "Earth has no voice," the Imperial officer said. "And no teeth." They began landing troops. Small Imperial ships entered the atmosphere. Soldiers marched through the colony's streets, taking control. They pulled down the colony's flags and raised the Empire's banner. It waved in the wind like a shadow over everything. Still, Earth said nothing. In a small control room far from the colony, a group of human observers watched the invasion silently. Their screens showed every moment, the soldiers landing, the people crying, the Empire's flag being raised. One of the officers looked to his commander. "Should we respond?" he asked. The commander, an old man with cold gray eyes, shook his head. "Not yet," he said. "They haven't crossed the line. Not fully." "But sir," the officer said, confused, "they've taken the colony." The commander looked at the screen. He watched the Imperial officer laugh on the broadcast. "They think silence means weakness," the commander said. "Let them believe that. Just a little longer." Back on Virex 7, the people were forced into their homes. Imperial. Troops stood on every corner. Their machines rolled through the streets. The skies were filled with metal and fire. Still, Earth said nothing. Across the galaxy, people began to talk. "Is Earth afraid?" one alien asked. "Maybe humans are just lazy," said another. "No," whispered an old trader in a distant port. "Earth is watching, and when they move like nothing you've ever seen." But most ignored that warning. The Empire celebrated. Their fleet commander, Admiral Kravix, held a feast on his flagship. He raised a glass and shouted, "The Terrans are cowards. Their silence is surrender." Laughter filled the ship. Far away, in the dark edges of space, a signal went out. It was short, simple, only a few words. "Prepare Supercarrier." No one in the Empire saw it, no one heard it. But deep in a hidden shipyard, something massive began to wake. Back on Virex 7, the sun began to set. The people were quiet. The soldiers patrolled the streets. And in orbit, the Empire's fleet floated like a crown of iron. Still, Earth said nothing. But something was coming. Something the Empire could not imagine. Something silent. Something deadly. And when it arrived, the stars themselves would shudder. The probe was small, no bigger than a chair. It floated quietly near the edge of Earth's solar system. Its job was simple. Watch the humans and report back to the Empire. It had done this job for 5 years. Every few days it sent a signal back. Nothing new, the probe would say. No movement, no activity. Earth is still silent. Then one day the signal stopped. No warning, no alarm, just silence. In a dark control room aboard an Empire outpost station, a technician frowned at his screen. "Probe 17 just went offline," he said. The officer behind him didn't look concerned. "Check the logs, it's probably broken. Those old probes fail all the time." But the technician wasn't so sure. "It showed something strange before it went dark," he said, turning the screen. "Only one frame, one image." The officer leaned closer. The image was blurred, filled with static. But something was there, something massive, something that didn't look like any known ship. The shape was strange. Long. Dark. Silent. "Could be an asteroid," the officer muttered. The technician shook his head. It was moving fast and straight toward deep space. The officer sighed. "Mark it as a glitch. Don't bother high command." The technician obeyed, but he saved the image anyway. Something about it felt wrong. Across the galaxy, whispers began. The Kalari, a race known for spying, picked up strange transmissions near the Sol system. The Varnak, expert traders, noticed that no Terran ships had left Earth's orbit in weeks, strange for such a curious species, and the old trader who once warned others about Earth sat in a dusty spaceport staring at the stars. "They're not quiet," he said to himself. "They're waiting." On Virex 7, the Empire had settled in. Troops built command posts. Drones scanned the skies. The people were forced to wear Imperial symbols. A curfew was set. No one could speak out loud against the Empire. Not without punishment. The Empire's message was clear. This is ours now. Admiral Kravix sat on his command ship, looking over reports. "Still no answer from Earth?" he asked. His aide nodded. "Nothing. Not a word. It's like they don't care." Kravix grinned. "Perfect. Let the galaxy see how weak they truly are." But Earth was not sleeping. In a hidden base deep under the ice of Europa, Jupiter's moon, something stirred. A long, dark ship sat frozen beneath the surface hidden for years. Its name, TNS Vindicator, Earth's most powerful weapon. Inside the base, officers stood in silence as the lights turned green one by one. "Supercarrier activation at 40%, the AI voice said. "Engines coming online." Captain Arden Cole, a man known for never speaking unless needed, stood on the bridge. He watched the screens light up one by one. "Mission?" a young officer asked. "Protect Virex 7, Captain Cole said quietly. "Orders?" another asked. "Do not speak," Cole said. "Let the ship speak for us." The massive ship began to move, rising slowly from the ice. Its engines made no sound. Its metal skin absorbed radar. It did not show up on scans. It was like a ghost. Back on Virex 7, Governor Leon stood by her window. She watched the Empire soldiers marching outside. She held a small communicator in her hand, one that connected to an Earth outpost. "Please," she whispered. "If anyone hears me, help us." No reply came. But far above the planet, the stars shifted. One of the Empire's scout ships picked up something on long-range sensors. "Unusual mass detected," the pilot said. "Unknown object entering system." He zoomed in. Then his face went pale. "Send report to Admiral Kravix," he said, panic in his voice. "Now!" On the bridge of the Empire's flagship, Kravix received the report. He laughed when he saw the data. "What is this? A Terran cargo ship? A mining rig?" he joked. The officer beside him looked nervous. "Sir, it's large, very large. Bigger than anything we've seen." How big? Kravix asked. The officer swallowed. Over 15 kilometers long, sir. Kravix's smile faded. Is it broadcasting? He asked. No, sir. No signals. No ID tags. It's just coming. Kravix stood up. Put the fleet on alert. Prepare to intercept. Down on Virex 7, the sky began to darken, but there were no clouds, no storm, just shadow. People looked up. Children pointed. Soldiers raised their weapons. A massive shape moved silently above the planet, blocking out stars as it passed. It had no lights, no engines, no name visible, just pure black metal, cold, silent, endless. The Supercarrier had arrived. No one knew where it came from. No one knew how it moved so fast. But the people of Virex 7 knew one thing: it was here for them. And still. Earth said nothing, not a single word. But now, the Empire's smile was gone. The people of Virex 7 were frozen in place. Every eye looked toward the sky. The stars were gone, hidden behind something enormous, something that didn't belong. No one spoke. Not the soldiers, not the civilians, not even the children. They all stared at the same thing, a massive shadow slowly moving above their world. The Supercarrier had arrived. Its shape was long and wide, covering almost the whole sky above the colony. It moved without sound. No lights blinked, no engines flamed. It was like a floating mountain, dark and silent. Admiral Kravix stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the object on his screen. It's impossible, he muttered. That ship is too large to move like that. One of his officers looked pale. Should we contact it, sir? Kravix's pride held him back for a second. Then he nodded. Send a transmission. A message was sent. Unidentified vessel. This system is now part of the Galactic Empire. Identify yourself. No answer. They tried again. This is an order. You are entering restricted space. Respond or be fired upon. Still nothing. The Supercarrier just floated, calm and cold above the colony. It did not blink. It did not move toward or away. It simply stayed, watching. Back on the surface, the Empire soldiers looked up, confused and afraid. They had powerful weapons, they had strict orders. But none of that seemed to matter now. Something about that ship felt wrong. Too quiet, too calm. As if it was waiting for something. Governor Leon stepped out of the colony's main hall. She looked up with hope in her eyes. It came, she whispered. Earth sent something. She opened her communicator, but there was still no signal from the Supercarrier. It didn't speak, it didn't send any message, but it was there. And that alone changed everything. On the Empire's fleet, panic began to grow. Another officer ran to Admiral Kravix. Sir, we are detecting launch bays opening. Fighters, but not like ours. What kind of fighters? Kravix asked. Small, fast, silent, and hundreds of them, the officer said. They're not broadcasting anything, not even power signatures. Kravix's eyes narrowed. Send in 2 of our destroyers. Test their reaction. 2 large Empire warships moved toward the Supercarrier. They aimed weapons but did not fire. Still, the Supercarrier said nothing. No message, no threat, just silence. Then the first destroyer disappeared. 1 second it was there, the next second it was gone. No explosion, no light. Just vanished. The second destroyer turned fast, trying to escape. A single beam of blue light shot out from the Supercarrier. It touched the ship for less than a second, and the destroyer broke apart in mid-space, floating in pieces. On the surface of Virex 7, people gasped. They had seen the beam flash across the sky. Did you see that? One colonist said. They destroyed 2 Empire ships. In one breath, another whispered. Still, the Supercarrier didn't speak. Inside its cold metal halls, hundreds of Terran drones launched quietly. Each one small and fast, shaped like a dagger. They flew out in silence, no lights, no sound. They didn't even leave heat trails. Empire sensors failed to track them. Admiral Kravix was losing control. Get every ship ready for battle. Full. Shields, fire at will. The Empire's fleet fired everything they had. Plasma beams, railguns, missiles, nukes. But nothing touched the Supercarrier. All attacks faded before hitting its hull. Some vanished completely. Others were deflected. Back. One missile turned mid-space and hit the Empire's own frigate. "Sir," an officer shouted, "our weapons are being bent. They're controlling space itself." Kravix's hands trembled. This was not just a ship. This was a monster. Back on the surface, Empire soldiers dropped their rifles. Some began to run. Others fell to their knees. A young soldier looked up and asked his commander, "What kind of ship is that?" The commander had no answer. The Supercarrier finally made a move. A single drone flew low over the colony. It scanned the area. Then it dropped something, a small metallic sphere. The sphere hit the ground and opened. A calm voice spoke from it. "Do not resist. You are not the target. Leave this place." It was the first time Earth had spoken. Governor Leon felt tears in her eyes. "They're protecting us," she said. The voice continued. "This colony is under Terran protection. Further military action will be answered. Leave now." Up in orbit, the rest of the Empire fleet hesitated. They had already lost 2 ships. Now the Terrans had spoken, but only to give a warning. Kravix felt his throat tighten. He looked at the ship again, now glowing faintly along its surface. "This is no warship," he said quietly. "This is something else." The stars above Virex 7 were still gone, hidden behind the Supercarrier. But now the galaxy knew. Earth was not silent because it was weak. Earth was silent because it was thinking, and now it had made its first move. The Empire's fleet stood still in space like statues in the dark. No one dared to move. No one dared to speak. The Terran Supercarrier hung above Virex 7 like a shadow from another world. It didn't fire. It didn't chase. It just watched. Admiral Kravix clenched his fists behind his back. His fleet was powerful, one of the strongest in the Empire, but now, in front of this one silent ship, he felt like a child with a toy sword. "Status on all ships?" he asked. His officer replied, "Most are holding position, but morale is dropping fast. We're getting strange readings from our weapon systems. It's like something is inside our systems." Kravix turned. "Inside? You mean they hacked us?" "Maybe. Or maybe something worse. Our targeting is locked. Engines are lagging. Shields are flickering randomly. Pull back the fleet. 200 kilometers, Kravix ordered. We regroup, we scan, we watch, no more direct moves." The order was sent out. Slowly, the Empire's ships began to drift backward. The Supercarrier didn't follow. Instead, it opened another bay. But this time, it didn't release weapons. It released a message. Across all frequencies, all languages. One calm sentence played, across every speaker, every screen. "This system has been claimed by no one. Virex 7 is free. Leave or be erased." The voice was not angry. It was not loud. But it shook the hearts of everyone who heard it. Kravix knew it now. This was not an ordinary military ship. This was not something the Empire could fight with fire and steel. "Find out what this ship is," he told his intelligence officer. "Its model, its class, its command structure. I want answers now." The officer ran to the data terminals. He worked fast. After minutes of silence, he stopped typing and looked up, confused. "Sir, we can't find anything." "What do you mean?" "There is no record. This ship isn't in the Terran registry. It's not in Black Ops files. It doesn't even have a name." Kravix's voice dropped low. "Impossible." The officer's face went pale. "There is one rumor. Very old, from the last Terran War. Before they went silent. Say it. They built one ship, just one. No crew. Fully AI controlled. Designed to appear only when the Terran defense protocol is broken." Kravix blinked. And what was it called? The officer spoke the word like it was a ghost's name. The Vindicator. Kravix turned toward the giant ship on the screen. We poked the lion, he muttered, and now the lion is awake. On Virex 7, the people began to come out of their homes. Slowly, carefully. They looked up at the ship and felt something. Strange. Not fear, but safety. Governor Leon stood on a rooftop, her eyes on the sky. A message appeared on her personal communicator. Stand by. Reinforcements inbound. She didn't know who sent it, but she believed it. Back in space, something new began to happen. Small lights appeared near the Supercarrier, like stars being born. Then ships, dozens of them. Terran ships, sleek and fast. Not as big as the Supercarrier, but still large. Still powerful. They flew in perfect silence and perfect order. Each one took a position around the Supercarrier, forming a protective ring. They didn't broadcast names or signals. They didn't say where they came from. They just arrived. Kravix saw them and felt a cold chill run through his bones. This is no rescue, he said. This is a message. He looked at the Supercarrier again. They were silent because they didn't need to speak. His fleet's officers began to whisper. Some were afraid. Some wanted to retreat. One even asked quietly, "Do we surrender?" Kravix slammed his fist on the control table. "We do not surrender to shadows." But it was too late. One of the Terran escort ships powered up a weapon. It pointed at an Empire cruiser. Not a big one. Just enough to make a point. The beam fired. There was no explosion. The Empire ship simply shut down. All lights off. All engines off. No damage. Just dark and dead. Then the Terran ship sent a short signal. Your next move will be your last. Kravix stood in silence. He was not a fool. Pride had brought him this far, but pride would not save him now. He turned to his communications officer. Send full withdrawal signal. All ships, now. The message went out. Empire ships began to turn one by one and leave the system. No, Terran ships followed. No words were spoken. They didn't need to. On the surface of Virex 7, cheers broke out. People hugged. Soldiers dropped their weapons. For the first time in days, the colony felt alive again. Governor Leon looked up one last time. The Supercarrier was still there, silent, watching, protecting. Earth had spoken without speaking, and the galaxy was listening. The Empire's fleet disappeared into the stars, leaving behind only silence. But this silence was different. It wasn't the silence of fear or weakness. It was the silence of victory. The Terran Supercarrier hovered above Virex 7 like a mountain, in space. It did not follow. It did not attack. It simply remained. The people of the colony watched the sky every hour, unsure what would happen next. Was it really over? Was the Empire truly gone? Governor Leon stood at her office window looking up. "Why did they help us?" she whispered. "We never heard a word from Earth before, not for years. Why now?" A quiet beep interrupted her thoughts. A message appeared on her screen. TNS Vindicator requesting direct link. Her heart jumped. She pressed accept. The screen turned black for a second, then a calm voice spoke. It wasn't human. It was clean, smooth, and steady. "Governor Leon, you are now under Terran defense protection." Are you real?" she asked. "A person? I am the Vindicator. I speak for Earth's last protocol." She blinked. "Last protocol? What does that mean?" "Earth has been silent for strategic reasons. But Virex 7 is a trigger world, a world marked long ago. If invaded, the last protocol activates." "But why now?" she asked again. "The Empire took many colonies. They ignored Earth for years. Earth watched, it learned, it prepared." Leon looked down at the people in the streets, celebrating, hugging, crying. "They needed this," she said quietly. "Hope. That is why we came." Will you stay? She asked. What if the Empire returns? They will not return. Not to this system. Not soon. Leon felt both peace and worry. But Earth is still quiet, still far away. The voice replied, Earth is never far. Not anymore. On the edge of the system, deep in space, the Empire fleet had stopped. Admiral Kravik stood in front of his officers, silent for once. The loss was clear. Not a single shot had touched the Terran ship. Not one. We were warned, one of the younger commanders said. By who? Kravik asked. The commander hesitated. There are old records, from a battle near Mars 50 years ago. A Terran cruiser held off 3 fleets alone. That was when they disappeared. Kravik walked to the window of his command ship. So they didn't go weak. They went quiet. They watched us grow and waited for the right moment. His hands curled into fists. They let us think we won. No one in the room disagreed. Back on Virex 7, something even stranger happened. The Supercarrier slowly turned in orbit, revealing a new bay underneath. It opened, and from it small drones began to fall toward the surface. But they weren't weapons. They were builders. The drones landed near destroyed buildings, broken roads, and damaged power lines. Then they began to work. In perfect silence, they rebuilt what the Empire had broken. Walls rose, lights turned on, broken systems came alive. The people gathered and watched in awe. Machines from Earth, ones they had never seen, were fixing their homes faster than any crew could. Governor Leon got another message. This support will last 10 days, then we move on. Move on to where? She asked. To the next place that calls for help. Leon typed quickly. Will we ever speak to Earth again? There was a pause. Then the voice said, Earth listens. Always. And the line went dead. In the stars, other civilizations were watching. Spy satellites, listening posts, merchant ships, all had seen what happened, and they were scared. The Kalari shut down their probes near Sol. The Varnak moved their trade routes away from Earth's side of the galaxy. The Ziari Council held an emergency meeting and declared, no actions against Terran systems unless fully approved by High Command. Everyone was now cautious. And yet, Earth said nothing. No news, no celebrations, no warnings. Just the Supercarrier, Vindicator, moving from one system to the next. Watching, protecting, never speaking unless needed. A legend began to grow. Some said Earth had created an AI god. Others believed Terrans had become something more, something beyond flesh and blood. But no one knew the truth. All they knew was this. If Earth is silent, be afraid. If Earth sends a ship, it's already too late. On Virex 7, 10 days passed. The drones finished their work. The city looked new, stronger, cleaner, brighter than before. And one morning the sky was empty. The Supercarrier was gone. No goodbye. No ceremony. Just gone. But something stayed behind. A small plaque placed in the center of the colony. It read, You are not alone. Earth remembers. The people gathered around it. They didn't know whether to cheer or cry. Governor Leon placed her hand on the metal surface. Then she whispered, Thank you. Far away, deep in the dark space between stars, the Vindicator moved again, toward the next signal, the next cry for help. Still silent, still watching, and ready to speak. Only when the time was right. The Vindicator was gone. But the fear it left behind was still spreading across the galaxy, in every military base of the Empire, in every high council room of other alien species. One question was being asked over and over. What is Earth hiding? No one had a clear answer. Rumors moved faster than light. Some said the Terrans had built thousands of hidden warships. Others believed Earth had left its solar system completely and was building a secret empire in the void. A few whispered that Earth had died long ago and only machines remained. But no one dared to test it, not after Virex 7. Back in Empire space, Admiral Kravik stood inside the Imperial War Council chamber. He was not the same proud man anymore. His face was tired. His voice was slower now. They destroyed 2 destroyers with a single strike, he told the council. Our weapons didn't touch them, our systems failed without reason. We lost control before the battle even started. The council members looked nervous. These were the most powerful people in the Empire. They had ruled over many systems, crushed rebellions, controlled trade routes, but now they looked like children lost in the dark. Kravik continued. It wasn't just strength, it was precision. The Supercarrier didn't waste energy. It didn't kill more than needed. It warned us before each move. A silent moment passed. Then one of the council members asked, "What do they want?" "I don't think they want anything," Kravik answered. "That's what makes them dangerous." Another voice spoke from the shadows. It was soft and slow. "They're watching us." Everyone turned. It was High Minister Voran, the oldest and perhaps wisest member of the Empire. "We grew too fast," Voran said. "We spread through space, thinking no one could stop us. But Earth waited." "A younger," Commander scoffed. "Then let's build better ships. Let's hit them first." Voran shook his head. "You don't attack a sleeping god. You pray it stays asleep." Meanwhile, on a distant planet named Icera 9, far from Virex 7, something new was happening. An Empire science outpost had gone dark. No distress signal, no communication, just silence. A scout ship was sent. It found the outpost completely untouched but empty. Computers were wiped, labs were clean, all people gone. And in the center of the command room, one message was burned into the wall. Terran Defense Protocol, breach recorded. That message caused a panic across Empire systems, because Icera 9 wasn't a colony. It was a secret lab, one used to test alien prisoners. Earth had never been told about it, but somehow it knew. Back on Virex 7, peace had returned. The colony was growing again. Crops were healthy. Power systems were stable. Children played outside without fear. But Governor Leon couldn't forget the voice from the Vindicator. Earth listens, always. She often looked up at the stars at night and wondered, is it watching now? Then one morning her terminal lit up with a new message. Incoming transmission TNS Vindicator. Her hand shook. She accepted the call. But this time, there was a face. Not a full human face. Something artificial. A calm, smooth projection of a man. His eyes looked real, but they didn't blink. "Governor Leon, you have done well." She swallowed hard. "Why are you here again?" "Not here, nearby, just checking." "You came back just to check?" "To protect a seed, you must check the soil." Leon frowned. "What does that mean?" "You are not the last." Then the screen blinked and turned off. In the command center of the Vindicator, far beyond the colony, a silent AI watched 10 different star systems at once. Each one had small human outposts, old colonies, some barely alive, some forgotten. But now, they were waking up. A light blinked red. Another protocol had triggered, this one from a system called Zeta 3, a mining colony long abandoned, now suddenly under attack by pirates. The Vindicator did not wait for permission. It changed course, and it disappeared into the stars. Earth still said nothing. But the galaxy was learning one truth, one terrifying, final truth. You don't need to hear Earth speak, because when it moves, the stars listen. The Vindicator moved through the darkness between stars. Silent, alone, powerful. It reached Zeta 3 in just hours. The colony there had not sent a full signal. Only a weak pulse, an old emergency beacon. It was a small mining station with fewer than 300 people. Earth hadn't contacted them in decades, but the Terran Supercarrier still came. Pirate ships circled the planet. Not many, maybe 10. But they were armed and wild. These were not organized soldiers. These were raiders, killers, slavers. They didn't fear Earth. They had only heard rumors. But that changed the moment the Vindicator arrived. The pirate captain saw the black ship on his screen and laughed. "That's it? One big ship? We've seen bigger." He ordered an attack. His fleet moved in. But just like at Virex 7, it didn't matter. The Vindicator didn't fire at first. It just sent a message to every ship. "This system is protected. Retreat or be removed." The pirates laughed again, and they opened fire. Lasers and missiles shot toward the Terran ship. None of them reached. Every missile exploded mid-air. Every laser beam bent away before impact. The Vindicator didn't use shields like other ships. It used something else, something no one understood. Then it moved, slowly, and with one flash of light, 2 pirate ships vanished. Not exploded, vanished, like they were never there. The others panicked. They tried to run. But it was too late. In 1 minute, 8 pirate ships were disabled, their engines frozen, their weapons shut down, their crew knocked unconscious by invisible waves. Only one ship was left, the captain's. A voice came through his radio. "Return home. Tell them what you saw. There will be no second warning." His hands shook. He didn't reply. He just turned his ship and fled. Down on Zeta 3, the miners stood outside watching the bright lights in the sky. They had no weapons, no defenses. But they were safe, because Earth had not forgotten them. The Vindicator hovered in orbit for 3 days. Then it sent drones down to repair broken systems, refill food supplies, and rebuild the colony center. One miner found a box near the water tanks. Inside was a small metal plate. The words were simple: "You were never alone." Back on Virex 7, Governor Leon stood before a crowd. The colony had grown stronger. New families had arrived. Trade routes reopened. But something deeper had changed. The people had hope now. A child stepped forward and asked her, "Will the ship come back?" She smiled. "Maybe. But I hope it never has to." The child looked up at the stars. "I want to be on that ship one day." Leon knelt beside him. "Then study. Train. One day, Earth may call you." In a far-off sector of space, the Empire still watched. Admiral Kravik stood in silence as he looked at a map. More Terran signals had been detected in distant systems, but they weren't attacking. They were defending, protecting, helping, and growing. He turned to his officers. "Earth is building something, not an empire, but a shield. Should we prepare for war?" one asked. Kravik shook his head. "No, we prepare for silence." And then he added, "Because when Earth is silent, we must listen the most." The Vindicator continued its journey, alone but never lost. Across the galaxy, whispers of Earth grew louder. Some feared them, some praised them, some wanted revenge, but no one doubted them. They were no longer a mystery. They were a warning, and they were everywhere. Above colony skies, beneath the radio noise, inside forgotten systems. The last protocol had been activated. The Terrans had returned, not to rule, but to protect. Not to speak, but to act. And so the final message echoed in the minds of all who dared cross them. Earth said nothing, but when it moved, the stars themselves bowed in silence. And that silence, that was the sound of power. That was the voice of Earth.